Hello, hello, hello. Hey, F and Cal here. That's me. That's cartoon me. Anyway, it's March 12th, and, well, when you're done with this, I encourage you to go over to the channel called Just Muckster. He's got a wonderful piece on our friend, everyone's friend, Todd Bryant. But I'm here to talk about the potential government shutdown coming up March 14th. Also on March 14th, the veterans are going to march. Anyway, every government shutdown in my lifetime, due to budgetary issues, has followed a skit very similar to this. Won't you join me in watching Aaron Sorkin's West Wing?
They're here.
That was Donatella Moss telling her boss, Josh Lineman, that they are here. Well, Donna, who is here? Oh, them they. Oh, it's the Republicans. Now, in this skit, it doesn't really matter who the Republicans are, who the Democrats are, White House, Senate, House of Representatives. This is how it always worked out. Regardless of which party has the majority in the Senate, the majority in the House of Representatives, the minority in those respective houses, it didn't matter who was president. It didn't matter who were the Democrats and who were the Republicans in which positions. But it always was the case where they're reaching the end of the budget, the money budgeted to finance the federal government, and the Democrats, whether they're minorities or majorities, and the Republicans, regardless of whichever side there are, would reach an agreement, and they'd all get down at the table and sign that agreement. And well, something always happened at the last minute. Every single time the government is shut down in my lifetime. Forget that Bartlett's a Democrat. Forget that the House of Representatives and the Senate are Republicans. Just remember Republicans versus Democrats and looming budget end.
Hello. Bob. Mr. President. Mr. Speaker, Senator.
I want to thank you, Mr. President, on behalf of my colleagues. None of us think this is a perfect deal.
And regardless if he's Democrat or Republican, that is true. When they come to a compromise, nobody thinks it's a perfect idea. They compromise. They worked out a deal. And that's the way it's been up to now. Let's see how Aaron Sorkin paints the picture a little bit more.
No one likes to see the sausage made, including the guys who make it. But this is an expression of willingness by both sides to keep all avenues open to an eventual resolution.
Yes, thanks, Robert. And thanks for saying it this time. I think I had to make that little speech the last time around.
Ah, yes, the small talk, and they take turns pretending to be nice. But make no mistake, they are opponents. They have their widely varying agendas. And, well, they're about to sign the deal that they have made verbally. Because we're gentlemen, right? Well, let us continue. Again, we're still on track for every government shutdown in my lifetime. I'm 59 years old. Look them up.
Or maybe the time before. This is our third CR, our third time coming up short. We got to do better. People aren't paying us to duck the hard choices. You want to run through the details, Angela?
An act of Congress. A continuing resolution to extend no later than January 3rd, midnight, to include a reduction by 1%.
Now, Angela's a temp. If you followed the show, Josh got in a little bit of hot water, so he's put on the bench, and they brought in Angela as a temp, a DEI hire, a woman, and she was of color. But she's basically reading the text of the verbal agreement they made, and they're all about to sign it. But someone has a last minute, what is it?
Excuse me, Mr. President, I'm sorry. There's been a change. I know we talked about a 1% cut. It's going to have to be 3.
Now hold the fuck on, Mr. Fake Speaker of the House. You had an agreement, man. You agreed it was going to be 3%. All right, Mr. President, how are you going to handle this?
Mr. Speaker, nothing like this was even mentioned, much
Hold
less
on.
I'm sorry we couldn't give more notice, but we just came from our conference, and I had significant opposition to only 1%.
Only 1%.
Yes, sir.
We had a deal at 1%.
But now my members have to go back to their districts for the holidays, explain why we kept the gravy train running with a rising deficit and an economy crying out for tax relief. It's an economic situation that calls for action, not status quo spending.
Ooh, quick move in one fell swoop. The moving of the goalpost and the ultimatum because his Congress, his members went home for the holidays. There's no one to reconsider the vote. So your only choice, Mr. President, is to agree to our new goalpost lines. Yeah.
3% may sound painful, but it's only for 2 months. It'll show we're serious.
What's next?
Sir?
In 2 months, 5%? 50? How many rounds do we go, Jeff? I'm just asking.
Oh, the drama. But we saw this play out every government shutdown in my lifetime. It doesn't matter the party of the person representing the Senate, the party of the person representing the House of Representatives, or the party of the president. Usually, at least one of those bodies is a different party than the other two. That's the way it usually is. They come to an agreement, and then at the last minute, at the 11th hour, they try to do some sort of goalpost move and or a shakedown. And every time it's been the Republicans, whether they're just the House of Representatives or just the Senate or both houses, or maybe they're just it's always been the Republicans at the last minute change the deal because they don't know how to stick to a deal.
There is no next, sir. I mean, not to get too technical, but this government runs out of money at midnight, and my guys have gone home. This is it.
Yes, this is fiction, but also it's an accurate depiction of every government shutdown we've seen. Most of us have seen in our lifetimes. What say you, Mr. President?
No.
There is no altering this offer, Mr. President.
And I said no.
Boy, those were the days, weren't they, when Democrats could actually stand up to Republicans. God, I miss those days. We need them back.
Let's be clear, sir. We cannot, we will not vote to keep on footing the bill.
Now, they pulled this every time. They'd make an agreement. When they'd sit down to sign it, they'd move the goalposts, and they'll even try to make it look like it's going to be the other guy's fault.
You will be held responsible for shutting down the federal government.
Then shut it down.
And every time this actually happened, they blamed each other. The population got pissed off, and they analyzed it. And every time when the Republicans thought the Democrats were going to be blamed, the American people woke up and blamed the Republicans. Sure, they forget, and they do stupid things like re-elect Donald Trump. We have short memories, we Americans. But that's basically, change who's sitting in what seat as far as Democrat or Republican. The Republicans always did that. That was in the past. This is now. Here we are 2 months into the Trump administration trying to fire everybody in the fucking federal government, and the Republican-led houses of the Senate and the House of Representatives are, okay, yeah, let's do that. This time, we're reaching March 14th. We're running out of money again. This time, there's no agreement. There's a Democrat plan and there's a Republican plan. And right now, the Republicans are already trying to blame Charles Schumer, the minority leader in the Senate. But there's no agreement. There's a Democrat plan and there's a Republican plan, and the Republicans are in the majority. They have a majority in the House, they have a majority in the Senate, they have a majority in, a majority. They're running the White House. So once again, it's going to either shut down or almost shut down, and Americans are going to point fingers at each other and blame. But let's face it, without an agreement, you have three choices. Senators, cast your votes. Either vote for the Democrat plan, or vote for the Republican plan, or come up with a new plan and vote for that. They're very mad at Schumer because he's saying the Democrats are going to vote for the Democrat plan. Duh. Will the government shut down? It's really on the Republicans. Republicans, if you all vote for the Republican plan, you have the votes. Do you? Time will tell. When we figure it out on March 14th, I'll be marching with the other veterans. Cheerio, motherfuckers. Cheerio.